Good afternoon, everybody. My name is AJ Kuftic, and I'm Principal Technologist with Expedient. I'm very excited you've joined us today. Today is the first of 5 webinars that we're doing over the month of March as part of our multi-cloud madness. And today, we want to help you cloud different. Quick housekeeping note, if you have any questions, please enter those down here into the Q&A panel. That helps us keep track of them. We have our Chief Strategy Officer, Bryan Smith, with us today to help answer some questions, help you understand how to cloud different. So he'll be answering questions now, and then at the end, we'll save some time for Q&A and answer some of those live. If you ask a question, you're entered to win a prize. That prize this week is an Instant Pot. You can make some chicken tortilla soup. I did this weekend, and it was delicious. And this is all being recorded. So if you have to step away, you miss something, you want to go back and see something, you'll get a link to the recording in your email post-event. It'll also be on our website, go.expedient.com/webinar replays, youtube.com/expedient, instagram.com/_expedient, and linkedin.com/expedient. Hi, everybody watching on LinkedIn Live today. Hope you're having a great day. But we've evolved over time as Expedient. We started in 2001 with co-location. Today, we have 12 data centers in 8 cities. 6 years later, we started our virtual co-location platform, which allows us to take all the big physical workloads our customers have and start to provide virtual hosting as our customers started to move from their big physical appliances into smaller virtual machines. Today, that's evolved into our enterprise cloud. In 2015, we released Push Button DR, which is the fastest failover in the entire industry. In 2018, we released Enterprise Cloud. Today, that supports tens of thousands of virtual machines, supporting over 1,000 customers. So we've been able to build solutions at scale for our customers. And in 2020, we released our cloud native platform, which allows our customers to start to modernize their applications and build those cloud native applications and bring more agile development to their world. And as you can see, we've accelerated over time. We've gone from a product every 6 to 8 years to bringing things out 2 every year. And this year is no different. But first, I want to kind of run through some cloud facts, some things that are kind of interesting to us and kind of help shape where we started to drive our latest announcements. And this year's a big year. This is the 15-year anniversary of AWS EC2, which is largely regarded as the beginning of cloud, or what a lot of people begin to think of as the modern era of cloud. And since 2007, digital transformation has been a goal of a lot of organizations. The problem is that they've been trying for a really long time. And only about 16% of companies actually have made it to 100% cloud. 15 years, 16%, that's not terribly quick. Now, there's a whole lot of companies that are down in the we're using it in some places, we're using it in others, and it's more of a bolt-on, but only 100% cloud is only in 16% of these organizations. But 83% of companies say that they're going to be the cloud's going to be the primary venue by 2022. We're in March of 2021. We don't have a ton of time left for all of these companies to go from 16% to 83%. And even then, only 85% of organizations say that they don't have the expertise to go do that. So something doesn't add up here. Something doesn't make sense. And what we've actually found is that the hyperscale's impact makes and creates inequality. Companies that are born in the cloud or who have been able to build cloud applications have a much higher capability and ability to adapt to changes in the industry far faster than companies who have a ton of technical debt. If you've been doing IT work or technology work for 30-some years, you probably have a mainframe, an AIX, legacy systems that are still very critical to your business. And companies who were born in the last 5 years skipped all of that and went directly to cloud because it enabled them to scale quickly. It's kind of like Uber and taxis. Taxis have been around forever. And unless you're in places like New York City or London, you can't just wave your arm outside of your house to hail a cab. You have to call a cab and schedule it and have that car come around to pick you up. And it'll take you to a destination. But all of that is very manual. There are a lot of people involved. It's a very slow process. With Uber or Lyft, I take my phone out of my pocket and I say, I would like a car. And within 5 to 7 minutes, some car pulls up to your house and takes you to where you want to go. They were able to use that scale and build out an infrastructure for people to get where they wanted to go in a very short period of time. But that's not a common example. A lot of customers have tried to do this and they've tried to transform, but they hit a number of barriers. They find out that when they try to take their applications or they try to do this digital transformation, there's a lot of complexities involved. The dependencies of their applications don't make sense. Their team doesn't have the expertise to rewrite it. They don't have the time to rewrite it. They don't have the budget to rewrite these things. They want to go do this. They just can't. And this creates a lot of hesitation in trying to push further. They go out, they have a fail, and they go, this didn't really work out. We're gonna stay in our on-prem data centers. We're gonna stay with what we know. And that leads the business to be less agile. It means that the business can't necessarily meet the needs and meet the goals that they have because they're starting to lean on technology that becomes more of a hindrance than a way to move forward. So why aren't we accelerating this? Why aren't we making this go faster? Well, there's different priorities. The business wants a rock solid infrastructure and a rock solid technology platform to run off of. But they're also asking you to go faster. Those don't necessarily match. And when they ask you to go faster, you start looking at technologies to go faster. And it creates more complex applications. It creates more complex platforms. And that means that you need to skill up to do that. But the skills aren't keeping pace because the next technology comes out. By the time companies have gotten into containers are old. You got to go serverless. Wait, I thought we were doing containers. I thought we were over here. I just learned all the container stuff. What do you mean I got to go learn serverless now? Oh, serverless is old. We're going to holograms now. All of these technologies keep changing. And the ability to keep the skills up with that is really, really hard. And unless you're spending all of your time learning every single new technology, the complexity continues to go up and your skills just aren't going with it. And then once these technologies come into play and you finally do get the skill set, you realize that this technology that you just learned and your applications don't match. This commodity off the shelf piece of software doesn't really land in Lambda all that well. It doesn't really land in containers all that well because it's a vendor supported piece of software. So what we find is that companies start to use different clouds. They start to use Azure or AWS or Google or Expedient, trying to do what they have. So I have a quick poll. This is something before we go any further, just a real quick poll. How many clouds are you using? Are you using none, 1, 2, 3, or more clouds? How many clouds are you using? We want to know that because it really helps us to help you cloud different. We want to bring a multi-cloud vision forward. We want to unlock a cloud operating model for your business because we recognize that not all clouds are the right fit. And based on this poll, so have you. You've also figured out that more than one cloud is what you're going to end up using. More than one cloud is going to be able to meet the needs of your applications. So we want to help you unlock an operating model to make sure that you are able to do this successfully. So how do we do that? First, we start by doing cloud smarter. We want to help you land your cloud in the right place at the right time and land them right the first time. And we do this by utilizing a tool from Cloud Physics to be able to do an assessment of your environment. We could take all this data, you have transparent access to it as well, and you pull all of this data in, and now you can see, hey, if we were to move everything to AWS, it would actually cost us 2x. Do we want to pay 2x? Maybe we don't want to pay 2x. Or we can see all of the dependencies of those applications to say, well, if we want to just move this application, it turns out I have to move these other 2 applications because those are dependent on this one. And I can't have these 2 sitting somewhere else than this one, or else it'll be really painful for me and I'll pay a bunch of egress fees for that. This allows you to get deeper insight into your environment, deeper insight into your inventory, and be able to drive forward better decisions so you don't run everything out to one cloud and find out, whoops, that was a bad idea, and then spend all of your time moving it elsewhere. We want to surface those roadblocks. We want to find out where you're going to run into problems before you make them. Because if you make the smart decision, that's the right decision. We can also do things like help you optimize size. If you have your VMs and they're built for on-prem and you take them out to a cloud, that may be too big, or maybe they don't fit. Maybe you hit a t-shirt size where you're in the middle. You're not 2 and 8, you're 4 and 8. Well, there's not a 4 and 8, there's a 4 and 16. So which way do I want to go? Oh, I'm actually not really using all that RAM. I'm going to go with a 2 and 8 and save a little bit of money there. We can help you build and make smarter decisions around your cloud workloads. Next, we help you cloud safer. Security is incredibly important, especially as you move into hyperscale cloud providers. They have completely different syntax, completely different models that don't necessarily line up with the way that you're currently doing security today. So what we want to do is help you be able to apply consistent policies across clouds, regardless of where your workloads live. Because if you're able to do that, your compliance becomes easier. Your ability to secure your platform becomes easier. You have a consistent security posture and you don't leave holes open for attackers to be able to get in. And we do that with a multi-cloud firewall, multi-cloud microsegmentation to be able to drive these policies regardless of where they live. That policy management becomes where you actually make your decisions. You're not looking at, okay, this is how we do it in Amazon and this is how we do it in Azure. You're doing it based on policies, not technology stacks. And with our SIM, we're able to do things like bring all of your events together so that you're able to see what's going on across your environment. We want to be able to bring your events together so you can find problems before they start, find attackers before they attack you. And finally, our push button DR platform is still the fastest in the industry, and that ain't changing anytime soon. Cloud different, same Expedient. So we're able to use that for protection against disasters and ransomware in our Expedient Enterprise Cloud so that you can recover faster. And we also want to help you cloud simplified. This is a foundation for all of your clouds to help streamline those operations. One of the biggest challenges is the way that you deploy workloads to all of these individual clouds. They don't necessarily line up and make sense. This is AWS, and this is the way I deploy an AMI. This is Azure, and this is an Azure Resource Manager template. And this is a Google image, and this is an Expedient template. Those are 4 different things in 4 different environments. They may be slightly differently. If you make a change to one template, you got to go make that change to all of them. Instead, we can help you simplify this platform by utilizing standardized tools like Terraform and Ansible so that you can use the base images, which are still Windows, Red Hat, Ubuntu, whatever the operating system may be, and apply configuration management on top of those so that you apply, again, the same consistent policies for how you deploy your infrastructure. It makes it much, much simpler for your developers to take on a multi-cloud infrastructure because they don't have to go figure out how to go deploy everything everywhere. We can help you figure that out for you. And not only that, we can start to look at things like security and give you visibility into your cost structure and optimization. So things like I have an Azure account, an AWS account, and an Expedient account. I can bring all 3 of those together and show reports back to my management as to where we're spending things. Maybe my Azure spend is really high. Why is my Azure spend really high? Oh, because we have these applications sitting in Azure because they are accessing this Azure platform as a service, and it's actually saving us money because we're not paying for the egress fees. Great. Or we can do things and say, hey, you're spending a lot of money in AWS. Why? Oh, well, we moved everything to AWS. Well, here's what you would actually save by moving to Expedient or moving to a different cloud. There's ways that you can take these tools and utilize them to make the best decisions possible. You can also do things like right size. Let's say I had that 4 and 8 VM go out to AWS and I do 2 and 8. And it turns out that I'm hitting a lot of memory pressure. We can bump that up to 4 and 16 and do that through the tool. You can also shrink through that tool. And that's actually something that's not terribly easy inside of a hyperscale cloud. And our platform can make that easier for you. And you also get access to our experts 24/7 to help you support this platform going forward. So we're here each step of the way for you. We help you assess upfront. What do you have today and how much does it cost you to run that? And then how much would it cost you to run that in the future, in this end state that you actually want to get to? And then we align those IT goals to your business imperatives so that you have this actual plan going forward as to what we want to do. We want to be more agile. In order to be more agile, we may need to refactor some applications. That's how you align those together. And then we help you build a plan on how to actually go do that. That's actually not something that most people do. They just say, well, we want to go cloud first. And then what happens? You just go out and you swipe the card on AWS and that works? It doesn't, as we've seen from the 16% of companies that are 100% cloud native. They just haven't gotten there yet, right? So we can help you get there faster because that's really what we're all about here. Align, assess, and act are the 3 A's, but the 4th A is accelerate. We want to help you go faster. And a multi-cloud operating model can help you do that. With Expedient's Enterprise Cloud, you can take your current applications, your virtual machines, your containers, your physical workloads, and bring them into a provider that is built to do that. This is what we do day in and day out better than anybody. And then when you want to go deliver your hyperscale workloads to your customers, you can do that with our tool set, and it makes it much easier and much faster. We take on all that patching and maintenance, so you actually have the time to go do this. We take away the cycles you're spending on keeping the lights on so that you can focus on making the lights brighter. So when is Enterprise Cloud a great fit? If it exists in your data center today, it's probably a pretty great fit for it, right? But also, if refactoring this application is going to cost a lot more than this application brings in, that's a really great fit for Enterprise Cloud as well. And we've seen this with customers. We've seen customers where they start to go out to a cloud and they realize their VMware skill set is way deeper than their cloud skill set, or they want to accelerate this cloud migration. We've seen this with customers because we've delivered this. We had a customer who was looking at doing a lot of work with a company, let's go with Azure, let's call it Azure. And they were on their way out to Azure. And after 4 years, they were only about 20-some% of the way there, which good for them, faster than the industry average. But they were only like 20% of the way there after 4 years of struggle. When we came in, we were able to deliver a faster time to value for them. We went from 0 to 6 months and brought them 50% into a cloud operating model. And after 18 months, 80% of the way in. This allowed them to accelerate their cloud journey. It allowed them to accelerate so that all of these workloads that were previously taking a lot of time to own and maintain were now being taken care of by Expedient, and they were able to focus on the things that they actually wanted out of Azure, which were the platforms as a service, not maintaining VMs inside of Azure. We were able to reduce their operational costs and give them their time back. That's really hard to do. A lot of people can save you money. Not many people can save you time. And that's what Expedient Control's universal multi-cloud services do. So let's walk through those. First, we start with our workload locations. These workloads can be anywhere. Client edge, our cloud, hyperscale cloud, it doesn't matter. We work the same across all of them. And we do that with our multi-cloud infrastructure, things like logging, centralizing all of your logging for event management, being able to provide networking not only in our data centers, but our Equinix Cloud Fabric to be able to get you there faster. And all of this is really neat, but if it's not secure, not a ton of people are going to be really interested in doing this. So with our firewall, microsegmentation, and identity access management, we can centralize those security policies and make sure that you have intent-based security. That's really, really important. Making sure that everything's locked down, access lists are all great, but if you don't understand what the intent is, it falls down very, very quickly. And when you're done, when you have a secure cloud, when you have a infrastructure that works across those, you can start to automate across all of these. Our container management platform is powered by Rancher. We can manage Amazon EKS, Azure AKS, Google GKE, our Rancher platform, and even on-prem Kubernetes workloads, so you can have consistent management of your containers regardless of where they live. And we can help simplify these operations. So our continuous cloud optimization is making sure that you're spending the right dollars in the right places and making sure that everything is performing up to snuff. Because when you bring all of this together in these universal multi-cloud services, this allows you to accelerate that journey and get you there faster. This is a really exciting time. I'm really excited to see that we're putting all of this effort into this. We have a number of additional things. We're going to dive deeper into Cloud Smarter, Cloud Safer, and Cloud Simplified over the course of the month. And you need to join us at the end of the month where we bring in Cloud Luminary from CloudWars.com, Bob Evans, and Gene Torres from Zerto to talk about how all of the industry is working towards this. And with that, I'll open this up with our Chief Strategy Officer, Brian, to let's go through and dive into some questions here.
Excellent. Thanks, AJ. I've been typing some of it. You can take a look there, but the most recent one that just came up that I was in the process of typing is, people are asking about the time frame. You talked about, had the slide that showed how we could accelerate the transformation, and that specific one that you talked about, that's a client that had over 10,000 servers and had a large portion that were actually even still physical. That most of our clients that have a typical migration from the time that we execute an agreement, that it's about 3 to 4 months that we have them fully into that cloud operating model. And part of the magic there is that there's going to be things that you choose to refactor over time, and there's things that you can move directly into kind of an enterprise cloud operating model. And it's not an either or. What we're really talking about is how you add the two together to accelerate that and get the ideal outcome.
And I think that's a really important thing to kind of go through is when we're looking at this, we know that not every cloud is a right fit for every workload. And we are no different, right? There's things like AI, machine learning, and big data that hyperscalers do better than anyone on the planet. And we don't want to take that away from them. What we want to do is help that acceleration happen. And by being able to land the workloads in the right places, you can actually get to where you want to go faster. I saw one question in here that Brian already answered, but I'll read it out loud anyways. Does the assessment consider legacy applications that are still running, but there's no more support, the devs no longer know of it? How can we adapt that to run in the cloud? That's really great for an Expedient Enterprise Cloud because we can land those workloads and you don't have to refactor it. You don't have to change anything. It's the same VM that's running on-prem as it is in our environment. So we're able to deliver that cloud operating model that you're looking for without having to completely figure out what this application is really made of and how to actually move it over. I think that's actually a really, really great capability that we add on top of the hyperscale models so that you can actually do this all very, very quickly.
Yeah, some others on here. Yeah, a quick one that was asked if we have a location in Canada. One of our cloud nodes is in Montreal. That we can provide service from there. Another is kind of the combination of what's better, all cloud, some cloud, or kind of the combination of cloud and on-prem. And honestly, and that kind of marries with the next question that talks about if they have things that they don't view fits in the cloud. And what we're finding is as people mature in their buying process for evaluating cloud and looking at things, a lot of what we have here with the combination of an enterprise cloud, which often people didn't realize was an option, marry that with the hyperscale cloud and combine kind of the concept of on-prem or co-location. That's where we see that we can help people across all the different generations because, for example, we may have somebody that has a mainframe or another option for physical hardware if they had just done a really large investment in a new storage platform and that they wouldn't want to write that down out of the gate, where they might co-locate that hardware inside a data center where one of our enterprise cloud nodes is in the exact same building so that you can cross connect to it with 0 data transfer fees, 0 latency. But then we have 100 gig network that ties out into the hyperscalers that people can use on a consumption basis. And a lot of what AJ is talking about from this Expedient control is how you then simplify your operations, because as people use cloud more, the complexity has just gone out of control. And they had an expectation that it would decrease. So what we've done with the Expedient control platform is give you that standardized services so that you're standardizing the management, the security, the visibility for those on-prem workloads, those enterprise cloud workloads, and hyperscale workloads, so that they can function in a similar fashion. So you're really extracting the value, and it saves you a bunch of time, and you're not having to evaluate 60 different technologies to see what works best. That we've gone through and curated things that we know interact well and deliver the outcome.
I think and that's kind of the answer to one of the questions here. What do you recommend if you have applications and related files that currently don't have a path to the cloud? The data is so big, the software is so complex, it currently needs to remain on-prem. I think the bigger challenge there is what is that goal? What's the goal of getting it to the cloud? Is there an actual goal or just to say you're in it? Because I think a lot of times customers want to do this because cloud is the cool thing, but maybe their applications don't fit, and that's okay, right? I think a lot of times people want to do the thing that the entire industry is doing because it makes sense, and sometimes they do it because it's the neat buzzword, right? Cloud's been a thing for 15 years. We think cloud is where the entire industry is going, but we also recognize that not every place is right for it. I think our cloud would be really great for that, or even that physical, if this is a physical workload, our data centers are really great for that, to give you that cloud operating model without having to manage everything along with it.
And AJ, just that's part of really what the assessment piece is there also. Like Kevin's question about application is, and then if you marry that with what Keith is asking about how long the assessments and process takes, that the reason we offer that free assessment and that free tooling is access to information is hard, and that's always been one of the big inhibitors to making a good decision. So we wanted to strip that down. So in our model, we provide you an appliance that you can install, and it generally takes people anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to install, and it starts taking samples of your information and dependencies every 5 seconds. So you can start seeing data as soon as 30 minutes, but if you have a complex environment, you want to see all the dependencies, it'll continue to build out through the month, and a lot of times we'll run that for through a month-end cycle, or whatever their calendar cycle is there, so you have that information to highlight those different dependencies. And then you can even do tagging to say, you can draw a circle around the things that are interacting and say, this is my ERP system, or this is a different monitoring system. And then you could tag those to say, show me what this would look like in AWS, Expedient, and Azure. Or you can also input your cost profiles of your own system if you want to do a comparison of what if I kept it on premises versus put it into a cloud, so that you can do a lot of what if scenarios very quickly. And it's also giving you information on how to right size that right out of the gate.
I think the bigger piece is that cost analysis and the migration plan are really important. Instead of just saying we're going to take this application to the cloud, I think being able to say this will work or this won't work very early on in the process, very early on in the planning, I think goes a really, really long way to getting you there. I see that I'm just going through and looking at this. Let's see. I see there's the question around the big application and trying to go 100% cloud with it. The question is the goal of that 100% cloud operating model, or is the goal at the cloud operating model where you're paying monthly and an OpEx for it instead of the big CapEx? Or are we aiming for, you want to use platforms as a service? I think there's, the data being so big might be a hindrance to a hyperscale cloud, but at the same time, if there's a value proposition of being able to use the platform and the scale to meet that, going through and trying to figure out how you get your data from point A to point B may be a thing that's important. I saw that there's a question here around the average time frame it takes to get a cloud not born to mostly or entirely in the cloud, and I think that was this graph here of being able to take them from 0 to mostly in about 6 to 12 months. As Brian mentioned, they had thousands of virtual machines, and we were able to move them over very, very quickly. We're able to stand up our resources when we need to. So we have a world-class delivery team and a world-class operations team. Shout out to the delivery and OSC teams who build all of these services to be able to scale to meet the needs of our customers pretty much wherever they may be. We really appreciate their work, and that's why we're able to do this faster. I mean, AWS and Azure have resources on the shelf, but they may not be where you want them to be. We're able to bring those resources to where they need to be and get you up and running faster, so that you're able to hit that time to value significantly faster than elsewhere. If you guys have any other questions, we can get them in. Looking for a thing here. The winner of the Instapod is, oh boy, Shiva Rajagopalan. I hope I pronounced your name right. I really apologize if I didn't. But the winner of the Instapod is Shiva. So congratulations to Shiva. Karen will be reaching out to you soon to get that out to you. We hope that you guys return for the rest of our sessions. In fact, we have a drive to 5, so there's 5 webinars. If you attend all 5, there is a limited edition Cloud Difference swag that comes along with this that has our logo in the cloud on it, t-shirts and hats. So please register, attend all 5. We will be here all month. We're doing these all on Wednesdays, so all 5 Wednesdays this month you'll see us, and we hope you join us next week as well, and for the rest of these. Thank you, Brian, for your time. Thank you to everybody who joined, and we will see you next week. Thanks.